Hi everyone, let me just start sharing my screen. Can you all see that okay? Uh, okay, I'm guessing yes. Okay, cool. Um, Hi everyone, thanks so much for joining tonight. My name is Sam. I work for Flipside. Flipside is a analytics company for blockchain, and it's a platform where anyone can query on-chain data for free. So I want to share about what is on-chain data and like how you can make use of on-chain data, right? So before jumping right into it, maybe just a quick question. Given this age, a time and age where everyone is buying from Uniqlo, have you all ever wondered how do I avoid wearing the same t-shirt as someone else? Like maybe you can ask, what are people specifically buying at Queens Bay in the last month? Or maybe something more intimate or intrusive, like what are my neighbors ordering for lunch on Grab? Um, or maybe you want to know what restaurants nearby you are, not having that many sales, and maybe you want to support local, right? While I find answers to all this very interesting, unfortunately the data is just not available, right? The data is closed, right? It's behind closed doors. But of course this is different for blockchain, right? In the blockchain, data is on chain, and subsequently it's public, which means anyone can see the data and verify the data. So okay, so blockchains, data is public. So what, right? How does that help me? How can I make use of that? Um, I think one way is data helps you to make more informed decisions. So think of a time where you are looking at a DEX, say Uniswap or like Sushi Swap, and you're thinking, you know, do I provide liquidity, right? What are the like, do I get wrecked by impermanent loss? Um, and I think this is where data can come in. You can, use data to help you see whether or not it's worth providing liquidity. The screenshot that you're seeing here is from Uniswap. They have like a mini analytics page for each of their pool, and you can see the volume and fees here. But I think it just stays at this level with blockchain data that is provided by analytics platforms. You can go beyond just that, right? You can see, for example, okay, in the past few months, what is the trend looking like? Is it on a downtrend? If it's on a downtrend, maybe it doesn't really make sense for me to provide liquidity, right? Because maybe the volume is low, I may get wrecked by impermanent loss because there's not enough fees to cover it. Or you could see like, are people swapping their ETH or are they swapping their USDC? Meaning, are they selling ETH or are they buying ETH, right? And all those are, uh, very cool metrics that you can use to determine whether or not you want to ape in, right? Another example are NFTs. So if you're in the NFT space, you would be familiar with Azuki. For the first half of like this year, Azuki was trading at somewhere between 14 to 16 ETH. And then right when they announced their new collection, the Azuki Elementals, prices just plummet, right? The holders of the NFT aren't that pleased with the decision, and it shows because everyone's selling. And today it's lost over like 80% of its value since June, right? So wouldn't it be nice if, say you own an Azuki, wouldn't it be nice if you saw that trend of people drastically selling, like a huge amount of sell, or people accepting offers for the NFTs, and you were able to like sell, maybe somewhere here, right? Before it really plummets down to, 80% decrease in value. So those are the few ways that you can benefit from using on-chain data, right? Blockchain data. But I think the main challenge here is like, okay, let's say you do want to use it. How do you get started? I think one of the main challenges is that blockchain data can be intimidating, can be not easily understood, because most of the time it comes with in this form of like hex values, a lot of 0, 1s, 2s, and alphabets, and it may not be easy to decipher what's happening, right? This is, for example, a sale on OpenSea. In the event logs, this is something that an event log emits, but it's not really hard. It's not really easily understandable, like what's happening here. And that's where, because of this issue, that's where analytics companies come in and fill this niche, or not niche, but like fill this need of abstracting all this complexity and creating curated tables, right? If you can see here, I think it's a bit blurry because it's on Zoom, but what you're seeing here is a screenshot from Flipsight's query editor. And if you can just bear with me a few seconds, you can imagine there are tables where we already curate, blockchain events such as NFT sales, DEX swaps, providing liquidity on DEXs. All those events are curated, and by curated we mean they are placed nicely in the tables so that anyone can use SQL or SQL, very straightforward language, to query, right? On the left here, this is the query, and you can see all the results, right? So you can imagine the table is quite big, so I couldn't fit all in one screenshot, but you can imagine there is a buyer address column, there is a seller address column, and the NFT address, token ID, can you get the price, the platform fees, creator fees, so on and so forth. So with all that complexity abstracted and arranged nicely in tables like this, the platforms like analytics platforms allow the analysts to focus on finding the insights. So they don't have to spend time on deciphering the raw events or raw traces. They can focus on insights discovery, right? With this, you can create trends. And I have a short video to show. Again, Zoom, so the video I think is a bit choppy on Zoom, but if you can bear with me, this is what it looks like. It's a query editor. I'm just looking at Ethereum right now. This is I'm selecting from the NFT sales table, and I just want the platform name and the price, which is the sale price, right? And I say, give me all the NFT sales after or in September. And I want to see like which platform corresponds to how much sales in USD. So then I get the results, and the results tell me, OpenSea, Blur, Rarible, so on and so forth, how much sales do they have in September. And I can create a graph, right? Yeah, so creating a graph, change the colors, and changing the title of the graph. But this is like a core component of what blockchain data analytics looks like. It's as simple as knowing what tables you want to query from, selecting the columns you are interested in. In this case, we are looking at different NFT platforms, marketplaces like OpenSea, Blur, Rarible looks rare, and then look at the amount of sales, right? Of course, there's so much more things you can do. You can look at buyers, sellers, royalty fees. And if you do a bunch of these and aggregate them, you can also create a dashboard, right? This is something I created a while ago, I think a year plus ago. But you can create a dashboard with all the metrics that you have created. You can, have something like the total sale, right, in lifetime, or you can have in a more time scale level, like what's the average sale, the median sales, and plot it all in graphs. And yeah, it's a dashboard that updates over time if you rerun the query, right? So this is one example that what you can do with on-chain data. A few other things you can do for example, verify claims. So blockchains like to use TPS, or like transactions per second, to market their blockchain speed. Like for example, ETH can do 200 transactions per second, for example. Because analytics platforms also have a lot of other blockchains you can query from, you can then compare all these different blockchains, find out what are their transactions per second, and then make that comparison. And potentially that could be an insight, right? Another way is macro trends. So those reports that CoinGecko, Masari, Nansen produces. How do they produce their reports? They obviously have some access to the blockchain data, and then they do analysis, right? Exactly like this. They plot graphs, and then explain what are the trends that they are seeing, right? So with tools like this, you can produce those research reports yourself too. And of course, blockchain data doesn't have to be all about metrics. It can also be fun. So there is a protocol called ENS. If you're not familiar, ENS stands for Ethereum Name Service. It's something like you can register for a domain name. For example, if it's available, I can buy sam.eth and associate that with my address. So whenever people sends, let's say people want to send me money, they can just send to sam.eth, right? And they would send to my address. So I was feeling a bit curious and trying to see like what names have people registered with emojis, right? I chose a rabbit emoji. So selecting all the ENS names that has rabbit emojis in their domain names. And these are the results that I've got, right? So apparently lots of people likes the rabbit emojis. I also wanted to see what about the word Malaysia, right? And turns out there is a lot of results of people of, I'm guessing, Malaysians buying these domain names. Anak Malaysia, Nestle Malaysia, Malaysiaverse, right? And then I thought, hey, what about Penang? And guess what? There are ENS registered with the Penang name in it. Hard Rock Penang, Penang Lang, right? Penang Foodie. So these sort of things can be searchable, can be queryable on chain, right? Using on chain data as well. So it doesn't have to be all metrics. It can be fun too. And yeah, I would say for people who are more savvy with data, we don't just have, specifically for Flipside, we don't just have curated models like NFT sales or DEX swaps. We also have the raw tables. Maybe you want to dig deeper into like traces, transactions, event logs, decoded event logs, and also balances. And for those of you who want to start your on-chain data journey, I would say it's a skill that is very useful, because not only you get to learn new skill, you get to sort of like contribute to a protocol that you like, or a community that you are associated with, right? Like for example, if you have a favorite NFT, maybe do an analysis of the NFT, right? If you have a favorite protocol, you can do the same. And I think that's a very positive way to contribute to the things you like in crypto. Also some resources to get started. Metrics DAO flip side on YouTube. Bunch of tutorials there. But yeah, so if you're ready to start on on-chain data journey, head on to flipside.new on your browser. And yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, Sam. Uh, how up to date is the data?
For Ethereum, I think there are different models we have. I think for the more like urgent-ish ones, like event logs, traces, I think those run every 15 minutes, if I'm not mistaken, or 15 to 20 minutes. But something big like balances, which captures, every ERC20 and Ethereum for every address on Ethereum, I think that runs once a day.
I see. All right.
Mm.
So do you support layer two's data?
Yeah, we do. I think we have Optimism, Arbitrum, Base, uh, what else? In total, I think we have 20 plus blockchains, including Bitcoin.
Hmm.
And then a bunch of other alt ones like uh, Avalanche, BSC.
Okay, got it.
Sam, right? I saw in the flip side there's a leaderboard like any incentive if you're like a very high rank analyst or something.
Yeah, good question. So I think that's more on the community side. Another thing that Flipside does is they want to uh, incentivize people to produce good dashboards. So I think they have something called the top eight. And if your dashboard is highly rated, like publicly, and you're making it into the top eight, I think you get paid like $1 every hour, depending on like what chain that you are analyzing.
Oh, I see. And then I also saw like that there's a bounty, like something like earning while learning. Is it something like that?
We used to run bounties. I think bounties are more like questions we post to the community. Anyone can try to answer it, and if your answer is the most accurate, you win. I'm not too sure if we're too active on that right now. I think it's dialed down.
Okay.
Mm.
How about the query syntax is very much similar to SQL, right?
Yes, it is SQL and it is Snowflake's version.
I see. It supports all the keywords or including all those aggregation
Yes, that's right.
group.
So
All right.
all functions from Snowflake. We also have like custom functions that we introduce. For example, hex to int conversion, hex to string, um, yeah, the
Mm.
keycat hash function as well.
So basically, it's just a relational database at the back.
Relational. I don't think it's relational. I think it's
Okay.
yeah.